Hi gardening friends, I'm Lark and I'm in Wisconsin, Zone 5. I'd like to take you on a walk through the yard for Tea Time Tuesday, catmint. And I will be cutting that down shortly because in the center there's sunflowers and Mexican sunflowers and bachelor buttons. They're not getting enough light. Purple Palace corabels, that a lot of them are reseeds, so that's why they're not real purple. They didn't come true. Probably reverted back to the mama plant. This year our Diablo 9-barks really did nice. They have been the last couple of years, but this year they're really loaded with flowers. Past their prime. Little burgundy now as they start to seed. And they are a good reseeder if you have patience to wait for a bush to bloom, because this year in this flagpole planter, I was pulling a lot of them out. In here I have larkspur that reseeded, Victoria sage, and my cannas I planted, and that sunflower is from last year that reseeded. And there's one other in there. Yeah, and my honey doesn't like it. That's going to take so long for that area to look pretty. But I didn't want to buy any more annuals. Catmint gives us a little color, but it gets so much shade. Doesn't get sun till the late afternoon. My hydrangeas, a lot more Diablos as a screen. And from left to right, those are the younger ones on the left. As we limb this tree up, this dying blue spruce, we added more Diablos. Quince did excellent this year, had some dieback, but a lot of people had the bush die completely to the ground. So this one's looking really pretty this year. Lots of flowers, already spent flowers. We had a storm, so they were really loaded. Now they're just kind of loaded. What's that? That's a verbena, I think, the red. I'm trying red this year. And creeping Jenny. Oh, there's the tag. Yep, verbena red velvet. I think it's about 15 inches. And this is the mandevilla. Showed you the name last week. Some kind of hybrid, smaller. And it is, I put the twine up, remember, and see it winding around. Sweet autumn clematis, late summer, early autumn bloomer. Oh, the babies must be all hatched. Hyacinth bean vine. Needs heat. It's going to get heat this week. So then that dead twig from the pines will help it guide it to the trellis. Corydalus. Great in shade to part shade. It likes it here. Potentillas. Finally, the cannas are coming with a little more heat. You know, I haven't showed you my succulents lately. I don't think I did, especially in the container. This is my jade. If you remember last year, I really chopped it back. This is 1970. 2, I think I got it. Pencil cactus. Now I pruned this quite a bit. Fire sticks. Pruned it quite a bit, and then I put the cuttings in some of my containers. Then I cut back my flapjack, and it will, see where it gets babies coming up? It will look better in a few weeks. And then a few years ago, I planted this container, this succulent, in this head. Pretty dark over here in the shade. But her tendrils are growing, and they get knocked off quite a bit. I winter this in the house, of course. And the other one is down here. Oh, I'm going to sell those. I don't want to bring them in and out anymore. In a colander. So, you guys, colander's cool to plant in. So if you see some at a thrift shop, then pick it up. This is my out the door, I can pick easily purslane. Very, very nutritious. So see, I put some of the pencil cactus in here. We'll see how it takes. And then in some other containers on the shed. And what it'll do is when I give them away in fall, it'll have a nice root system on it instead of giving them just fresh cuttings. I'm anxious to see how they do back here because it gets really hot. Really hot. Flapjack, succulent, and then I will take the yucky leaves off the bottom, and then the babies will take over. It was really nice having support for these Annabelles, or they'd be laying on the ground. This is from an old real estate sign. People throw those out at the dump all the time. They support plants nice, and the rusted blends in with the garden, so it's not so obvious as a, let's say, a tomato cage or a peony cage. The chickweed is being invaded by the perilla. But this is nice to pick right outside my door and grab a handful of chickweed, add it to my bone broth, soup for breakfast, or to my salads. Cranesbill. I love the iridescent look to it. So pretty. Aggressive. Old reliable spiderwort. Primrose. Sundrops starting. Another cranesbill. Burgundy foliage. And the typical cranesbill flower. So pretty. Pretty, pretty. And then my buttercup that's in the ranunculus family. Let that go to seed. It's been raining every day, every other day. Some sunshine, a little bit. But we are definitely above average in rainfall. Clustered bellflower, very aggressive. I thought I killed it all in here, but I didn't. Now I decided I'll just leave it go. They're going to have to duke it out with sundrops. That's pretty together anyways, isn't it? And then some Joe Pye Gateway. found its way up here. I might cut that back a little and then have it bloom shorter. You can hear and see the quaking aspens back there. See, I take the perilla, and if it's getting too close to something, let's say this is purple dome aster, I will just pull out, chop and drop, okay? Can you? And weed it out so purple dome has some room to spread, okay? That's one of my to-do things. And just leave it drop. Because that perilla will get about 2 foot high. Fleabane. I like the tallness to it this time of the year and airiness. See, I used to let just the Joe Bite come up where I wanted it to because it gets so tall. It can get 7, 8 feet taller. Now I let it blow where it wants, and I'll pull it if I don't want it there. Pygmy barberries coming back after a severe pruning. Daylilies starting to set their blossoms. This is always my first daylily to bloom. Stella d'Oro. I definitely don't have a tidy garden. You can see how closely planted it is. And what's nice about that is then you don't see the weeds as much. Gives me time to get in there and pull. Yes, I leave some goldenrod in the garden. I'll be cutting back some of it too. I think that's goldenrod right there. The deer pruned the turtle head for me, which is late summer blooming. And you can see where it has its new growth coming out. So it's stunted. It'll bloom shorter. It'll bloom off of these and all the way down. See? So the deer helped me. They did it to the phlox here too. They like to walk the path, so they eat just what's on the edges. Pink astilbe. Some in substance hosta. White astilbe. Next year I'll have more spiderwort in there. It's hard to not have this go to seed because it keeps blooming 1 flower a day. I think that's another name for this family of flower, trans something, that they bloom 1 day and then they set seed. So if you wait for all the flowers to bloom, you definitely are going to have reseeds. feverfew in a lot of shade. Deadheading it will promote later bloom and leaving some reseed. And then my oh so healthy chickweed. And then there's sorrel in here. Oh, let me pull this for you. Sorrel. A real tart lemony taste to it. It gets a yellow flower. So this is my salad. I picked the dandelion, chickweed, and then sorrel. And a violet leaf I'll throw in there too. Where are we here? And a violet leaf. I guess my neighbor likes to cut grass on Tea Time Tuesday. But then again, you gotta cut when you can cut, when it's raining so much. Ligularia, the rocket. Probably about 6 foot tall when it has a flower on it. Yellow spike. Pretty foliage, nice dark stem. Ligularia the rocket. Shade to part sun. It'll wilt if you put it in all sun. And it likes moisture. Little yellow in the garden. I used to have a lot more of this. This loosestrife. We call it the circle flower. I don't know the other name for it. This lime green hosta is golden scepter. Thin leafed, so slugs like it. And I have turkeys this year though, so I think they're eating the slugs. I don't have a lot of damage. But anyways, that one does not like a lot of sun, if any. The thinner the leaf in the golds do not like sun generally. They'll burn. Thick leaf gold ones like Some in Substance, they'll take sun, especially morning sun. That white Astilbe looks pretty, I think, with variegated hostas, variegated white hostas. Gold standard are these golds with blue edge, and then the ones with the blue leaf and the gold edge, I don't know the name. But you can tell how I like to play with foliage. Some sub and substance back there. Some and substance back there. Yes, he turned it off. Deer tried my Astilbes, munching on them. Their mom said, well, you must try something, and if you don't like it, then you don't have to eat it. So I guess they didn't like the little taste of cayenne pepper. Because, oh boy, all you gardeners know what my deer can do down in this shade garden here. So the red Astilbe is Perennial, I think it's called. And I'm going to have to do what I told you before with weeding out around a perennial so it doesn't get choked out by this persicaria. Pretty golden sedge. No, that's not a sedge. Sedge is down in the bog garden there. This is just a Japanese grass. Which way should we go? Let's go this way. Some lilies getting ready to bloom. Now this is the area I had to tear all up to get a lot of the grass out. And I believe the grass came from, a friend gave me Carl Forrester, but I think old field grass was in with it. So beware when you get plants from somebody else. So this is like a new area here because I divided everything. Just put in those purple Pallas corabels. I think that'll look pretty at the base of the daylilies. I think those daylilies might have burgundy in them. This was an outstanding year for the alliums. They really did good. Some are coming back, never bloomed, but I think enough moisture this year that other parts of the garden, maybe next year, they'll look better. Now, primrose can choke out other plants. It's a runner. And I have it around this coneflower here. So after the primrose is done, I'll be tearing out. After the primrose is done, I'll be tearing some of the primrose out. When I tear it out, I'll throw it in a bucket, the root, and I'll plant it someplace else. A variegated Heliopsis. It holds its variegation pretty good. Aggressive tiger lilies, but that orange is so pretty. And I see, okay, I have, this is the milkweed, the orange milkweed. So happy some of it came back. And of course, valerian, pretty valerian with the primrose and the cranesbill. Little bit of orange soon. So with perennials, yes, you have to weed, but you don't have to plant them every year. And they usually keep multiplying. They choke out a lot of weeds, especially after they get tall. So to me, perennials is the way to go. Fill in with annuals. And if you get tired, then you don't have to plant the annuals if you don't want. And then when this even gets to be too much, then we can maybe just leave it go and it'll be wild. And the phlox will take over, and queen of the prairie and milkweed. But it'll still be pretty. Oh, there is a spot of variegated Heliopsis that decided to reseed in with the turtle head. And then another one. So if they get light, like this year I raked all the debris off the garden, then the reseeds got light. So it helps. So if we can, or if we can hire somebody, when we cut it down, we'll rake it again. Rake off the debris instead of total chop and drop. Little zebra. Lots of perilla. Jelly for my orioles. And the finches and the cardinals will visit it every so often. I'm really surprised that our wind and rain last night did not get these gloriosas, you know, knock them down. But then we have the cover of the maple tree here, so it protects them, and of course it doesn't let them get watered too good either. See the trumpet vines coming back on the arch. It's filling in. You might have seen this in a couple other places. Likeness. It's in the family of Maltese cross. Okay, let's take a quick, has to be quick. So if I don't say bye, it's because I got cut off. I got a half hour here, 29 minutes. So I planted a few leftover tomatoes in this flower garden area just because they only get like 4 or 5 hours of sun. I have peppermint, flat leaf parsley, gloriosa, some Patterson onions, my hoop house with the brassicas, Greek oregano, basil, some seeded basil, celery in the ground, rosemary in the cinder block, spearmint on this side, nasturtiums, and cilantro. Let's see if I can give you a peek in here. Just a second. I'm sorry for the picture now. Okay, so in there is my brassicas. Doing okay, but definitely not tall enough. This is a hassle. Okay, I'm going to just drop this and then hope I remember to put the board on. Then I have green beans on this side growing up the fence, and something ate them last night. Probably a woodchuck. So I got to get in there, and I'll put a trap out tonight, I think, a live trap. Tomatoes, yes, the peppers should have been planted on the other side of my beautiful garlic, but in fall, I didn't think of that. So they get less sun, the peppers. Malabar spinach. More peppers on this side. Calendula and verbena, Buenos Aires. My dandelion. Borage. Great pollinating, a great plant for pollinators, especially the tomatoes, even though they're pretty much self-pollinating tomatoes. Lots of dill throughout the garden. Cucumbers, carrots, green onions, more calendula and dill and Buenos Aires, more rosemary, some peas, more green beans they didn't find yet, Malabar spinach climbing up the sapling, and my raspberries. Japanese spinach, head lettuce is in there, no, butter crunch lettuce, asparagus, dill. I hope to have my cucumber climbing on this trellis this year, this arch. And take care, my friends. I really appreciate you coming in and watching